Hey everyone! Welcome back to our C# tutorial series. I hope you're enjoying the journey so far and learning new skills to take your C# development to the next level. In our last video, we dove into the world of object-oriented programming, covering key concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful feature in C#, delegates and events. If you've ever wondered how programs handle things like button clicks, user inputs, or system notifications, you're about to find out. Delegates and events are crucial in building event-driven applications, where certain actions trigger other parts of your program. We'll cover what delegates are and how they work, what events are and why they're important, how delegates and events help build loosely coupled, flexible, and dynamic code. A practical example to see delegates and events in action. So, grab a coffee, sit back, and let's jump right into it. Let's start by understanding what a delegate is. A delegate in C# is like a function pointer in other languages, but it's much safer and more flexible. It allows you to pass methods as parameters to other methods. Think of a delegate as a reference to a method. Instead of calling a method directly, you can use a delegate to call it. This might sound a bit abstract at first, but it becomes extremely useful in scenarios where you want to dynamically assign behavior. For example, suppose you have different types of logging mechanisms in your application. You can use delegates to decide, at runtime, whether to log information to a file, console, or a database. Here's the basic syntax of a delegate. In this code, we define a delegate logger that takes a string parameter and returns nothing, void. We then create two methods, log2console and log2file. We use the delegate log to point to different methods at runtime and invoke them. This flexibility is one of the key advantages of using delegates in C#. Now that we understand delegates, let's talk about events. Events build on top of delegates and allow methods to be subscribed to certain actions or occurrences. An event is basically a notification mechanism, allowing an object to broadcast that something has happened, and other parts of the program can respond. Imagine you're building a user interface, UI, with a button. When the user clicks that button, an event is triggered, and other parts of your program can respond to it. Here's how you declare an event in C#. What's happening here? We declare a delegate click handler for the button click event. We declare an event onClick of type click handler. The click method simulates a button click and checks if any subscribers are listening to the event. If so, it triggers the event by calling the delegate. In the main method, we subscribe to the onClick event by attaching the button clicked method. When the button is clicked, the program prints button clicked and button was clicked. Responding to event. The event system allows us to decouple the logic that handles the button click from the button itself. Let's take a moment to clarify the difference between delegates and events. Both delegates and events are closely related, but they serve slightly different purposes. Delegates are a reference type that holds the reference to a method. They allow you to pass methods around and invoke them dynamically. Events are built on top of delegates and provide a structured way to signal that something has occurred, allowing other parts of the program to respond. An event adds a layer of safety over delegates. With a plain delegate, any class that has access to the delegate can invoke it. However, events restrict who can raise the event. Typically, only the class that defines the event can trigger it, which helps avoid accidental or unauthorized invocations. You may be wondering, when should you use delegates and events in your programs? Here are some typical use cases. 1. Delegates. Use delegates when you want to pass methods as arguments, especially when the method to be called is determined at runtime. For example, in a logging system, you can use a delegate to decide how and where to log messages. 2. Events. Use events when you want to implement a publish-subscribe pattern. This is common in UI programming, where components like buttons, sliders, or forms raise events in response to user actions, and other parts of the application handle these events. By using delegates and events, you can build loosely coupled systems where components interact without directly depending on each other. Let's bring everything together with a real-world example. We'll build a simple notification system where a sensor monitors a temperature, and when the temperature exceeds a certain threshold, it raises an event to notify other parts of the program. Explanation. We have a temperature sensor class that raises an event when the temperature exceeds 30 degrees. The alarm system class listens to the event and responds by printing an alarm message when the event is triggered. In the main method, we create instances of the sensor and alarm, subscribe the alarm to the sensor's on temperature exceeded event, and then simulate changing temperatures. In this example, the event system allows the sensor to broadcast an important change in state, a high temperature, and the alarm system responds to it. This creates a loosely coupled architecture where the sensor and alarm are independent but can still communicate through events. It's challenge time. Now that you've learned how to use delegates and events, let's put that knowledge to the test. Challenge: create a simple console application that simulates a stock market tracker. The program should 1. Have a stock class that tracks the stock price and raises an event when the price changes significantly, e.g., more than 5%. 2. Create a stock alert class that listens for changes in the stock price and displays an alert when a significant price change occurs. 3. Use delegates and events to implement this functionality. And that's it for today's lesson on delegates and events in C#. We've covered what delegates are and how they work. How events build on delegates to help you write event-driven code. How to use delegates and events in real-world scenarios. These concepts are crucial for writing flexible and dynamic applications, especially when building systems that need to respond to user inputs or other changes in the environment. In the next video, we'll explore even more advanced topics in C#, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or want to share your solution to today's challenge, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.